important thing about decorating your space for Christmas is to figure out what provides you with a sense of peace and gives those who come to visit you a feeling of welcome. How can you create a little bit of Christmas magic in your home? Christmas magic can mean all different things for different people and different homes. When I was a little girl, we always had a fresh Christmas tree, and my mom would place a few special treasures here and there. I always felt like it was beautiful. When I was introduced to my husband and to my mother-in-law, I was introduced to a whole different way of Christmas decorating. My mother-in-law, Diana, was Ms. Christmas. She put so much care into each corner of her home and every display that she created that you couldn't help but feel special when you'd enter that house. My husband's childhood home is no longer in the family. Diana has sold it and downsized and moved to Florida. But the memories that she created there for my family, and for me especially after my own mom had passed away, are what have inspired my Christmas decorating all of these years. So now I invite you to come into our home to see how I create a little bit of Christmas magic for those who enter. Welcome. The kitchen is the heart of our home and is oftentimes a place where people gather. We don't have a ton of counter space on which to work, but I do put decor on top of my cabinets. Up here, a lot of the decor is year-round, not necessarily seasonal. I have displayed some platters, which I use for serving, amongst the pieces that are there normally. One place that I enjoy adding decor is in this corner of my kitchen countertop. This fall, I created this 2-tier spinning tray from a spinning Lazy Susan that I found at the Goodwill outlet bins. For Christmas time, I found this vintage meat mallet also at the Goodwill outlet bins, as well as this pre-sewn fabric Christmas tree. I slipped the Christmas tree on the meat mallet and stuffed it with some fiberfill, and I put it on my 2-tiered tray, and I'm really enjoying how it looks with my other vintage items. Next to the 2-tiered tray, I filled this kitchen crock with vintage kitchen utensils and added a little snowman and some greenery, as well as a bow with Velcro on the back so that I can change it out for the different seasons. To the left of the sink is our coffee and tea preparation area. We drink a lot of coffee and tea in our home. I used this 2-tiered basket that I found at the Goodwill outlet bins to set out some necessary things for our coffee and tea bar. And across the way on the corner of the island, I set up our hot cocoa bar. Here's a little bit of decor that I put into a vintage milk bottle that I found at the Goodwill outlet bins. As a base for the hot cocoa bar, I used this 2-tiered tray that I created this fall from items that I picked up from yard sales this summer. These 2 Santa mugs I got at Michael's, and I filled one of them with the Christmas tree spoons I recently thrifted. And in the tray, I've included thrifted containers for marshmallows and chocolate chips. I also have a milk glass mug with candy canes and an IKEA container with hot cocoa pods. Also on the tray, I included this container I got at Dollar Tree, on which I did an assemblage on top, and I've placed peppermint candies inside. In another Dollar Tree container, I've added Hershey Kisses, and I decorated the top of this one as well to complete my hot cocoa bar. Opposite the kitchen in the great room is our living room area. Here on the coffee table, I have my German Christmas carousel or Christmas pyramid, and the theme of it is Santa's workshop. I did a whole video about this. If you care to watch it, I will try to link it in the description box below. Around the Christmas carousel, I set up a little wooden ornaments village using some trinkets that I had, as well as things that I collected from thrifting and the Goodwill bins this summer and fall. One of my favorite areas of my Christmas decor is this bookshelf where I've displayed most of the vintage Santas that I've collected. This is my Precious Moments tree. My hubby has given me an ornament every year since we've been together, and I have rescued a few from yard sales along the way. This year I topped it with this vintage tree topper I found at a thrift store. One of my favorite ornaments on the tree is that little one with the boy and girl on the train. That's the one from the first year we were married. And thank you to my very creative subscribers who suggested that I put this red sleigh that I found at the bins with these reindeer that I found at the bins. I added a vintage Santa and a toy sack, and look, an adorable vignette. A few years back, I stopped collecting snowmen and started collecting tomtas, or gnomes. In Minnesota, we call them tomtas. Here on this shelf live my milk glass and my uranium glass, which stay out all year. But I've added in the tomtas and some little bits of Christmas to give this area a more festive flair. Moving into the dining room, here's my very old table, which I'm always told I should replace, but I like the history that it has, and I don't have to worry when I do craft projects on it if I get a little paint on it. Here's my little nut bowl I recently found. I'm not sure of the date of it, but my family enjoys mixed nuts, and I keep it here on the table for us. This is the centerpiece that I rescued and repaired from the bins. I did a video about that. I've placed it on this Lazy Susan with a tray from the Target dollar spot and some little vintage goodies. And that Noel I actually made. This is my red Pier 1 Christmas tree that I found at the Goodwill outlet bins for 49 cents. It was originally $49.95, and yes, it was designed to be curved. Over here in the dining room, I kept the color palette to silvers and whites with pops of red, and I like the woodland type of theme that it gives. I know if I were a real designer, I would work the same theme throughout my house, but I prefer a little more variety in my decor. So I like to do my decor in zones where I can have a woodland theme in my dining room and a cabin theme in my family room and a vintage vibe in my living area. In this vintage 7-Up crate, I always have my little salt and pepper shakers, but for Christmas time, I added some other collections. I have these old bells that I found, as well as my molded candles on top here. Moving to the family room, we have our Christmas village set up on the buffet or dresser that I got at the Goodwill outlet bins recently. It's proven a great flat surface to have to set up our village. We collect the Dickens Village by Department 56, and we started it in 1997 when our friend gave us our first piece for our wedding. Moving into our family room, this is our favorite room in the house, where we spend most of our time. I do apologize, it is quite bright and sunny, and the snow makes it even sunnier, so it was challenging to film in here. But on this behind the couch table, I have the rest of my Santa collection, which I have put together over the last few years, but added several pieces to this year. While lots of families in Minnesota have a cabin, we do not, but we like to call this our little Christmas cabin room. That's the feeling we like to evoke in here. Our Christmas tree in this room is always fresh, and we like to use all of our heirloom family ornaments. Here on the top of the tree is my dancing Rudolph and my husband's green pea ornament, fresh from the 70s, and every year it's a competition who can get their ornament hung higher. Initially, hubby won this year, but his branch seems to be drooping a little, so Rudolph might be coming to the top. Over here on the archway, I've hung this awesome plasticky garland that I found at the bins with some owls to make it look like they are holding the garland. And I've had that gathering room sign for many years, long before crickets existed and before signs were trendy. Our coffee table gets a lot of use. We put our hot beverages and sodas and dinner plates on here often, so I like to keep a good amount of space clear and provide coasters so the table doesn't get wrecked. But I have used this old crate to corral a little bit of decor on the table. I've mentioned in other tour videos that this little love seat is my favorite spot in the house. I sit here very frequently. And so I've placed some bits of decor that I love so that I can see them frequently, including these birds that my children gave me and my hubby gave me last year, and this scoop that I found at a barn sale recently. And this is where we decided to place the 3 wise men because they are on the long, long journey to find the baby Jesus across the room. I don't do a ton of Christmas decorating in the rest of the house, but we do a tree in our bedroom and a few other displays which I wanted to show you. This is my vintage ornaments tree. I just bought the tree this year because I finally had enough ornaments to put on it separately. It's a flocked tree from Walmart. I think it's beautiful. This tree skirt I found at the bins, so I probably paid under 50 cents for it, but it's definitely circa 1960 something. This is my mom's stocking from her childhood. And there are a mix of family ornaments as well as ones I have found. I'm going to put ribbon on the family ornaments so that they are distinguishable from the ones that I thrift. I found this pair of deer at Target and I completely adore them. I have a set of these mirrored ornaments from my childhood. There's a donut and a bell and a few others. We also have a whole set of plastic flocked train ornaments from my husband's childhood, and they shine here on this tree. And at the top of this tree is this amazing vintage tree topper, which I found at, you guessed it, the Goodwill outlet bins. I have always loved the look of jadeite, but I've never found any until this year. I found a salt and pepper shaker at the bins, as well as a bowl and a plate at a vintage shop for a reasonable price. And so I have those in my bedroom displayed with other green pottery and green pieces and red Christmas balls. I love the way these colors play with each other. The shelf above that I'm using to display things looks like an old window, and I got it for free from the free pile at a yard sale. Always check the free pile. This I Want to Have Adventures with You was a stocking stuffer from my hubby several years ago. I love it. Over on my dresser, I have just a little bit of decor in my grays and whites and greens, lots of milk glass that's always there, and I added some Christmas balls. Look at that amazing swung vase I found at Goodwill. And last but not least, here is our bed. I don't do a ton by our bed. I like to keep it very zen, but I do always have this window with wreath above the bed, and I've added this metal Mary banner that I found at Menards. I think it's just the right touch. And that's all that I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of our decor here in 2019. I've enjoyed showing you how I create Christmas magic for my family. If you like this kind of content, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, where I upload thrifting, decor, and DIY videos. And of course, you can always find me on Instagram at Nicole North Garden. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.